Hello, this is Krista back here with you again today, and Daisy. Say hi, Daisy. So today I wanted to cover some more ground on what I've been talking about: narcissism, dysfunctional families versus addiction. I talk about this because I see so much narcissism and dysfunctionalness in my own family. And dysfunctionalness can be a lot of different things. But what I do a lot of research on, and as you can see, quite a few of my videos, I talk about narcissism as I study it inside my own family. The reason that I do this is not to scare anybody, or, that is not my intention. I come on here with the clear intentions of giving what I know, because I think it's important for people to learn, because it can be so devastational, just like the addictions can be in our lives. To have and be in these relationships, be it with family, friends, work, relationships, where we are not happy. But it can go even beyond that too. Like I said, it can wreak certain darker triad type people can wreak havoc in our lives, and we're not sure why our lives have gotten this way, or especially why these people are hurting us like they are, or acting so strange, or whatever it is, whether that person is laying their hands on you physically, violently, or has basically treated you like absolute crudville, called you all kinds of names, or beaten you down to the point where you are so confused and frustrated, you don't understand why that person is treating you like that, because you don't treat them like that. And then they're coming at you, blaming, shaming, and playing the victim like they're so good at, and how they can really hook you back in and reel you back in by playing the victim. It's so funny, as I've watched the own dynamics in my own life. I'm sorry, I've got to save some mail for my neighbors that came into my mailbox. The dog got it. So I guess I will just kind of give you a little bit as I go on in my own recovery journey with dealing with more toxic people. I have been joining in a sport, kind of like joining in the pool tournament in my area. But as I do this, I go into the local bar and really have to stand up while I'm in there, but not in a in a forward type of a way, just kind of a laid back way, where I'm there to play, as play is an important part of our lives, joining in things. I can't say as we're addicts, this is a very good place to be still if you're in big time recovery from alcohol and so forth. But if you can go in there and be okay with limiting yourself to just one or two or, you know, drinking something else like a pop or something during that time. You know, if you can do that and you know that you can do that, but if you know you can't, it might not be a wise idea to step into places like that. But being as I live in a small town, I find certain things to do that I like. But again, you're dealing inside of a bar situation with such individuals that are a lot of times more toxic, more narcissistic, or have a lot of pain inside, you know, and are coping the same way that you did once, or still are, with whatever could be holding you back yet from healing and releasing whatever that is. So, you know, with relationships, I was learning that when you are in the recovery process, from stages of codependency, which is self-love deficiency disorder, which Ross Rosenberg calls it, where he says to stay off the dating sites, you know, while you are still in recovery, because a lot of times we will fall back in with these people that are still quite narcissistic, just like that person goes to get their fix. That drug could be an abusive narcissist yet again. And a video I learned from him recently about gaslighting addiction, how we can still fall back and let these people talk to us in cruel ways, or groups of people or whatever, talk to us in gaslighting ways. And as I was sitting at this bar, playing at this bar, I know just the other weekend how I had one person come up to me and start kind of gaslighting me in a roundabout way about how all the men were going to try to sleep with me, and how they were going to try to trick me and put the moves on me and get me into bed with them. And you have that in one ear, and you're trying to focus on whatever it is, but and then it kind of did happen in a way that there was a person that I had met in that bar a while back, that him and I kind of had a thing for, like, you know, over the a couple weeks, and then all of us, and it was like I was stuck in this idealization phase again. Excuse me. Where he had put me up on this pedestal, and you know, I was made to feel really good for a while, and then all of a sudden he just like withdrew, and it just like ceased. And I tried calling him and talking to him and contacting him, and when I saw him again at the bar, because we would play pool together, all of a sudden he didn't want anything to do with me. And of course, right away, one thing I do in my dating style these days is when I do go out on a date, I will ask a lot of questions, and I will state exactly what I want. And I told this man that, you know, if we were going to go any further, like sexually or whatever, because a lot of times narcissists will want you boom, boom, boom in bed really fast, and do their love bombing on you to condition you to do whatever they want right away in the relationship before they do start the devaluing stage, is just basically, if I can remember what I was saying, was that I tell them that I want something real, and I want something long term. I don't just want just to play for a while, like a lot of this has been that I'm getting in the dating scene. But right there are a lot of red flags that are going up and saying these people are getting on these dating sites just to play, and they're saying that they just want to be friends with benefits. I mean, that's what they'll say. They'll actually say to you, to a girl, or and some people say this is fine, but the way that I look at it, I just kind of see the falseness of it. And if you're really ready to have something real with somebody and not get, played like that, because it does end up devaluing an individual. And afterward, when a narcissist will play for a while, they will get tired of you and move on to the next. You're like a French fry to them, and it's very hurtful. And there's no really way to avoid it. I mean, I know when we're in the stages of denial at first, it can be really hard to even learn on these videos and listen to what teachers are saying about this phenomenon, because we like to live in the bubble reality still. We like to live in this false reality where playing is normal, because that's what we've always been taught by teachers before us. I mean, to us, this behavior and all this gaslighting on us and different things, like that we are not as good as them at this or that, or like I know a lot of times when I go to play pool, a lot of especially the men will turn their backs on me and not even speak to me the entire time I'm in the bar. And I've actually had some men say to me during the pool game, would get angry that I would be winning, and they would actually tell me that they didn't like being beat by a girl and walk away. And I tell my therapist, even on my job, driving a Amish taxi, that it is a phenomenon that especially women and probably a lot of times ethnical people will deal with in cases of more narcissistic types of people, whether it's just a little bit or if it's a lot, like if it's extreme, the nastiness and everything, where we will get avoided, ignored, and just treated like we don't even exist, and we grew up believing that a part of us, a part of us does not, like we're invisible, but when it comes down to it, it's a lot cutting to us when we let people into our lives when we are not familiar with these red flags, or how to deal with this kind of behavior, or how to even deal with it within ourselves, to, instead of lashing out, like when I said that when I drive the Amish, and their culture, it is taught, a lot like when a woman driver gets up there and drives you, a lot of times I'm treated like a child, or like I'm kind of dumb, and like they're superior. That's another narcissistic thing, where but I mean, when you have to stand up for yourself, I'm saying please do, But when you're having to use a lot of anger to do that, to just watch, kind of step back and maybe not say a whole lot, maybe do a little bit of gray rocking in that process, to avoid further conflict with these people, because they will keep razzing you, is the thing, emotionally, and all of that. So, just, I know during that time, I know, and I told my therapist even, that at the end of the day, when I'm done at finishing that job, or when I'm done finishing a pool game, it is always so satisfying to know inside of my own head that I have won when I take their money for that job, or I have won when I beat that person in pool, or at least have done my job as in finishing the game, not being too angry to walk away unless you necessarily have to, because of their behavior might start stepping across the boundaries that you place. And that's another thing that they do, is they will take those boundaries, and even when you assert yourself, to say, hey, I do not want your hand around my shoulders when I'm trying to hit a ball in, or whatever it is, back off. If you state your boundaries with them, if they cannot respect that and they won't stop, stop the game, or stop whatever it is that you're doing, and just walk away. And you don't necessarily have to tell them to provoke them, because, sometimes they can get scary when their ego is messed with, and it doesn't take but up to do that a lot with these types of people. And just to place these boundaries, and simply, even if you have to excuse yourself with, say, oh, I'm getting a phone call from Susie, even if you're not, or like make something up like, I've got somewhere else to be right now, and just take off so they can't try to keep you there, or whatever it is. This helps such a great deal, especially when you're out there just dealing regularly with the world. If a situation is making you feel like you're losing all your energy to others around you, or whatever it is, and if it's making you feel really bad about yourself, you can excuse yourself from that situation. And you don't have to go back to that group or club if you don't want to. I know, as I am sort of passing that phase into watching a lot of countless videos about narcissism, and maybe, reclusing in the house, not to overdo that, and to finally we can get out and start enjoying our lives. But just to be careful to step around these types of people, because we can do that. We don't have to deal with every jerk that comes across our paths, and we can have live lighter lives because of it. So thanks for listening today, and peace.